A strange new visitor has entered our solar system, and it's doing something no natural object should. Multiple observatories, from the icy peaks of Mauna Kea in Hawaii to the high-tech domes of the Virtual Telescope project in Italy, have confirmed it. 3I Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar object ever detected, has changed its trajectory. Not once, but twice. The implications? Devastating, mysterious, unprecedented. Normally space rocks obey gravity like clockwork, but not this one. Instead, scientists are reporting movements, sudden, unmistakable deviations that have no known natural explanation. The Galileo project in Las Vegas is calling it the most significant anomaly since Oumuamua. And Harvard astrophysicist Dr. Avi Loeb, he's gone on the record. It manoeuvred. And now he's briefing Congress. Something is very wrong, or very right, depending on what you believe about intelligent life beyond Earth. Because whatever 3I Atlas is, it's not just a comet, and it's not acting alone. Stay with us. Because in this special breaking investigation, we're going to explore exactly how 3I Atlas defied gravity, why its twin trajectory shifts are throwing off orbital models worldwide, and what's coming on December 19th, when this object makes its closest approach to Earth. Subscribe now, and hit the bell icon if you want to follow this cosmic mystery in real time. And let us know in the comments, what do you think 3I Atlas is? A comet, a probe, or something else entirely? Now let's get into it. Imagine this. You're a telescope operator in Italy, logging sky survey images near the constellation Virgo. The object you've been tracking, officially named 3I Atlas, just passed its closest point to the Sun on October 29th. Everything about it was already strange. No visible tail, nickel-rich composition, odd jets. But it seemed stable. Then in early November, the light curve data spikes. It gets brighter, 5 times brighter. And then, the math stops working. Orbital models, those precise simulations that predict every curve of an object's path, begin to fail. On November 6th, a subtle shift is noticed. The object's position no longer matches its predicted coordinates. At first, scientists think it's a data error. But then on November 8th, it happens again, a second shift, this one even larger, confirmed by cross-reference telescopic data from 3 independent observatories. Not only had 3I Atlas veered off course once, it changed direction twice. The response? Confusion, debate, and a call to arms across astronomy forums worldwide. This wasn't just one telescope making a blurry call. This was a global verification effort. Let's walk through it. Virtual Telescope Project, Italy. Dr. Gianluca Massi first noted a positional discrepancy in side-by-side composite images captured before and after November 6th. The offset was subtle, about 0.03 arcseconds, but enough to trigger alarm. NASA JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, ran simulations using the Horizon system. The post-October 29th data simply couldn't reconcile without assuming non-gravitational acceleration. Harvard University's Center for Astrophysics under Dr. Avi Loeb pulled trajectory data and spectral analysis. They began calculating internal propulsion possibilities, an unprecedented step for any known interstellar object. Las Vegas Galileo Project Observatory, a fringe but fast-growing initiative, flagged the second trajectory change as intentional, based on modelling of jet emission vectors. Mauna Kea Observatory, Hawaii confirmed the brightness shift using multi-band photometry, ruling out solar reflection as the cause. Capitol Hill, Washington, D.C. On November 10th, Dr. Loeb briefed select congressional members, citing the object's motion as non-random and deliberate. Multiple observatories, multiple countries. All confirming one thing: 3I Atlas is not following the rules of orbital mechanics. Let's rewind to the first anomaly. At approximately 0312 UTC on November 6th, telescopes noticed 3I Atlas deviated from its expected location by 0.03 arcseconds, roughly 4,400 kilometers off course when projected onto the object's heliocentric trajectory. That may seem small, but in orbital dynamics, it's enormous. You don't just drift 4,000 kilometers by accident, especially not against the gravitational curve of your solar path. More bizarre, no corresponding outgassing signature was detected. No tail, no ejected mass trails, no dust spikes. What was observed instead was a blue shift, meaning the object began radiating more energy in shorter wavelengths. This is not what happens when a comet is evaporating. This is what happens when something accelerates toward you, or emits energy intentionally. According to Harvard astrophysics logs, the object's visible spectrum shifted nearly 12% toward the ultraviolet, making it bluer than the sun itself. That's not just unusual, that's impossible. If the first maneuver shocked scientists, the second one caused full-blown uproar. November 8, 0527. UTC 3I Atlas deviates again this time by 0.07 arcseconds, or nearly 10,000 kilometers. But here's the kicker. This second shift was not gradual. It was instantaneous in tracking data, as if the object had jolted, pivoted, or rotated sharply in space. Spectral analysis from the Las Vegas Galileo project shows that at the exact moment of this second shift, 3I Atlas emitted a burst of 7 distinct spectral lines, most commonly associated with nickel vapor. Let's pause. Nickel vapor is rare in interstellar comets. It implies high-temperature sublimation, usually caused by intense internal heat or, more controversially, energy emission systems. Again, no tail, no outgassing trail, just a nickel burst, a blue flare, and an impossible maneuver. The term now being whispered across observatory channels: self-propulsion. Let's recap what makes this object uniquely disturbing. No tail, yet behaves like a comet, cooler than the sun, but radiating shorter wavelengths. No visible debris, yet undergoing massive acceleration. 7 jets, arranged symmetrically, pointing away from its spin axis. Nickel-rich, not icy, suggesting metallic rather than cometary origin. Trajectory changes without gravity-based cause. Bluer than the sun, which almost never occurs in natural solar system bodies. Speed, estimated at 150 km/s, triple the velocity of our fastest rockets. Possible alignment with origin region of the 1977 WOW signal, within 9 degrees. Individually, these facts are intriguing, but together, they suggest something far more exotic than an icy rock from another star system. Let's take a moment to hear what scientists are saying. And not saying. Dr. Avi Loeb, Harvard University. This object maneuvered. The simplest explanation is technological origin. Until proven otherwise, we must consider that possibility. NASA, official statement via JPL. 3I Atlas exhibits anomalous acceleration consistent with non-gravitational influences. Investigations are ongoing. Dr. Gianluca Massi, Virtual Telescope Project. We've never seen anything like this. It's fast, it's blue, it's unpredictable. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, November 10th, 2025. Americans deserve transparency about what we're seeing in space. The scientific community is split. Some remain cautious, citing unknown comet physics. Others are more vocal, hinting that this may be the first observed object built by non-human intelligence. We're not done, not even close. In the next segment, we'll explore what happens on December 19th when 3I Atlas makes its closest pass by Earth, why some experts are calling this the interstellar reckoning, and what the object might do next, based on Loeb's predictive models. Because here's the truth, this thing isn't done moving, and if it's maneuvered twice already, what happens when it gets closer? The stars are watching, and so are we. Imagine you're inside a planetarium. Above you, the sky dome shows a live 3D map of the solar system. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, all rotating smoothly in predictable elliptical orbits, the cosmic ballet of Newton and Kepler. But then, there's a new object, glowing faintly blue, darting inward from the outskirts. It's labelled 3I Atlas, Interstellar Object Nara 3. As the simulation plays, a warning flashes. Orbital model failed to converge. That's not a glitch, that's reality. Sky simulation software, like SkyEye, Stellarium, and NASA's SPICE toolkit, all rely on the same premise, that celestial objects follow the laws of motion, gravity, inertia, and solar influence. 3I Atlas breaks those assumptions. Its real path does not match any model without injecting external forces. And those Forces, they can't be gravitational. As NASA's orbital engineers have admitted, off record, we had to fudge the math just to get the model to run. Now here's something even more bizarre. 3i Atlas isn't just zipping randomly through space. It's moving nearly perfectly within the plane of the planets, the ecliptic plane, where Earth, Mars, and the other major bodies orbit. That alone raises eyebrows, because the odds of a random interstellar object entering Koplan alignment with our solar system's primary plane? Less than 0.01%. To put it simply, it's like throwing a dart from another galaxy and hitting the bullseye on a spinning dartboard. Coincidence? Maybe. But then, add this. Its trajectory lines up within 9 degrees of the suspected origin of the 1977 WOW signal. The most famous unexplained radio signal ever received from deep space. Is this a sign? A route? A return path? Some believe so. Others urge caution. But no one denies this thing came in the front door. Let's look ahead. On December 19th, 2025, 3i Atlas will make its closest approach to Earth, just 6 days before Christmas. From Earth's perspective, if you chart the positions of the Sun, Earth, Mars, and 3i Atlas on that date, you get something astonishing. A near-linear alignment across 4 major points. The Sun, Earth, 3i Atlas, and the direction of origin back toward Lyra. Visualized through Skive software, it looks less like a random pass and more like a transit corridor. Even skeptics are now asking, is this geometry just a coincidence? Or is it part of something much bigger? Because here's the deal. This isn't the first time an interstellar visitor has played geometry games. Oumuamua, 2017, came from Vega in Lyra, the same general region. Borisov, 2019, less anomalous but still non-native. And now 3i Atlas, arriving from the same quadrant but behaving far stranger. What surprised many observers is this. In all 3 cases, their approach vectors favour Earth-aligned visibility, making them ideal for observation. Could that be by design? Let's go back to the object itself. NASA's infrared scans, combined with high-res telescopic imagery from Mauna Kea and Las Campanas in Chile, revealed something unusual on the surface of 3i Atlas. 7 symmetrical jets, plumes of gas or energy, extending outward from the fuzzy central mass. Here's what's wrong with that. Cometary jets, when natural, are chaotic, uneven, triggered by solar heating and outgassing of ice pockets. But these, they're evenly spaced. They're polar aligned. They're stable over time. That's like seeing a volcano erupt. But in a perfect circle, every eruption the same size, same duration, same direction. Dr. Loeb explains it like this. If you see 7 engines firing symmetrically, you don't assume it's an accident. Some scientists proposed a natural mechanism, crystalline nickel degassing, but even they admit the symmetry is troubling. And remember, there's no tail, no dust trail, no coma, just jets and motion. Here's the biggest problem. For 3i Atlas to accelerate the way it has, especially during those 2 confirmed trajectory shifts, it would need to expel mass. That's how thrust works. According to Newton's third law, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if something accelerates in space, it must push against something. NASA engineers ran the numbers. To cause the observed changes, 3i Atlas would have to eject approximately 5 billion tons of material over just a few days. But where's the missing mass? There's no debris, no cloud, no expanding plume. Nothing. The only spectral evidence, those nickel lines, which are metal vapour, not frozen gases. Some theorise a solid-state energy drive, a concept borrowed from science fiction, not science textbooks. But if that's true, then what we're seeing isn't just a comet, it's a craft. Here's where things get even more suspicious. As of November 12th, NASA has not released high-resolution images of 3i Atlas taken by the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, MRO, specifically the HiRISE camera. But we know the images exist. The timing lines up. The MRO's instruments were well positioned for a capture window in late October and early November. And internal sources suggest a record and hold directive, a term used when sensitive data is awaiting internal review before public release. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna has publicly demanded their declassification. "This is a matter of scientific transparency," she said. "We have the right to know what's out there, especially if it's manoeuvring." Why the silence? Is it merely protocol delay? Or is there something in those images NASA doesn't want us to see? Thankfully, other observatories aren't waiting. The Virtual Telescope Project, led by Dr. Gianluca Marci, has launched a series of live imaging sessions tracking 3i Atlas as it moves inbound. They've already documented the colour shift, the brightness surge, the trajectory divergence, and the 7-point jet symmetry. What makes this even more compelling is that amateur astronomers, yes, backyard telescope owners, have started uploading data confirming these same changes. This is no longer a niche discovery, it's a global observational event. And as more people turn their eyes to the sky, the picture only gets stranger. Here's the question no one wants to say out loud, but everyone is thinking: if this object was designed by someone, what am I? What does it want? Why is it here? Why maneuver twice? Why appear blue, metal-rich, jet-powered, silent, and precise? And why now? Some theorists suggest it may not be visiting us at all, but scanning, orbiting, dropping probes, mapping trajectories. Or maybe it's just passing through, and we're only collateral observers of a much larger plan. One fringe theory says it's retracing a past route, checking on something left behind. Another, more grounded view, it's a fragment of something larger, and more are coming. In part 3, we'll explore the Secret Lobe Intercept Plan, a proposed Juno flyby mission in March 2026, how governments are quietly preparing for the December 19th close pass, and the classified space agency debate over potential signal detection. Because here's the thing, every hour that passes brings 3i Atlas closer to Earth. We don't know what it's going to do next, but we do know this: it changed course, twice, and the sky does not lie. If 3i Atlas is truly manoeuvring, we may never get this kind of opportunity again. Which is why behind the scenes something remarkable is unfolding. A group of researchers, led by Dr. Avi Loeb, has proposed a theoretical intercept mission using none other than NASA's Juno spacecraft currently orbiting Jupiter. They call it a kamikaze data run. Not a destruction mission, but a one-shot flyby designed to intercept 3i Atlas in March 2026. Let's break that down. Juno has already completed the bulk of its Jovian science objectives. It still has functional propulsion and instrument capacity. And with precise manoeuvring, it could, in theory, leave Jupiter's orbit and intercept 3i Atlas in deep space. The goal? To get close-range imaging, thermal data, and, most importantly, spectral surface scans from under 1,000 kilometers away. But here's the problem. The window is closing fast. Any intercept would require manoeuvring orders by late December 2025, right around the object's closest pass to Earth. And as of now, NASA has not commented publicly on the plan. But sources within the Galileo project say the clock is ticking, and every day of delay drops the probability of intercept by 2 and 3%. If we miss this, we may never see it again. On November 10th, 2025, something extraordinary happened. Dr. Avi Loeb, founder of the Galileo project and one of the most controversial figures in astrophysics, was invited to brief members of the US House Science and Intelligence Committees. Why? Because 3i Atlas had now changed trajectory twice, shown signs of propulsion, defied standard comet behaviour, raised questions of possible technological origin, and unlike in the past with Oumuamua, this time some members of Congress took it seriously. Representative Anna Paulina Luna has since issued a public demand for NASA to release high-rise imagery from Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, disclose any internal memos on 3i Atlas's behaviour, collaborate with international partners on open data initiatives. Her statement was clear: we need to stop pretending we know what this is and start admitting what we don't. This marks a shift in tone. For the first time, the language of secrecy is being challenged by the language of science. And the public? They're starting to pay attention. Since the beginning of November, public interest in 3i Atlas has exploded. Reddit's R Astronomy and R UFOs communities have surged with amateur footage and theory threads. TikTok creators are charting its movement across the night sky. Independent researchers are creating 3D simulations, showing the two trajectory shifts and raising eyebrows over the wow signal angle. News outlets like Newsmax, The Hill, and even Al Jazeera have run stories quoting Dr. Loeb's "it manoeuvred" line. But here's what surprised many. Even skeptics are starting to engage. Dr. Jill Tarter, co-founder of the SETI Institute, recently told Sky News, "I'm not saying it's a spacecraft. I'm saying this is the kind of data we used to dream about. Now we must follow it wherever it leads." And it's not just the West. Chinese space agencies, as of November 11th, have begun repositioning optical telescopes in Sichuan and Tibet to increase their observational coverage. ESA's Gaia satellite has also logged anomalous brightening data, currently under review. This isn't fringe anymore. It's planetary science in real time. Now let's talk about the rumour. A growing number of insiders, many unconfirmed, suggest that on November 9th, a signal was detected during 3i Atlas's second manoeuvre. What kind of signal? Not radio in the traditional sense, not a pulse, but rather a modulated burst, Omar Farm. A fast, structured spike in the X-ray spectrum, observed by a private satellite operated by a US-based research group. The signal lasted just under 2 seconds, peaking at 3.7 kvar, and was reportedly directional, matching the object's inbound vector. Now let's be clear, no major observatory has confirmed this, but the claim has already lit up forums. If true, it would be the first time a modulated electromagnetic signal has been tied to an interstellar object exhibiting artificial behaviour. Skeptics call it noise, but others aren't so sure. Dr. Avi Loeb, when asked about it on Newsmax, simply said, "If it's real, we're not the only ones watching." Let that sit for a moment. Let's return to a recurring visual anomaly, the colour blue. 3i Atlas has been described as bluer than the sun, an extremely rare characteristic. Here's why that matters. Bluer objects radiate shorter wavelengths, more energetic photons, but 3i Atlas is not hot enough to produce that light through normal thermal processes. Its emission profile is inconsistent with any known natural body, cometary or metallic. And here's where it gets weirder. The bluing intensified precisely during the two known manoeuvres. Coincidence? Unlikely. Some theories propose energy emission from internal mechanisms, a reflective hull material reacting to solar radiation, or intentional modulation of observed signature. Essentially a kind of camouflage, but either way it suggests non-equilibrium behaviour. In other words, engineering. No random rock does this. In response to growing anomalies, a coalition of international observatories has now formed under an informal pact called the 3i Task Force, led by researchers from Harvard University, USA, Max Planck Institute for Solar System Research, Germany, Kavli Institute, Japan, Roque de los Muchachos Observatory, Canary Islands, Las Campanas Observatory, Chile. This ad hoc team is pooling multispectral imagery, velocity reconstructions, polarization analysis, and rotational light curve data. Their goal? To determine if 3i Atlas is a natural interstellar object behaving strangely, a remnant fragment from artificial origin, an operational structure with unknown mission. They've already reached one consensus. Whatever it is, we've never seen anything like it before. We now stand just weeks away from a moment no one expected. December 19th, 2025, when 3i Atlas will make its closest approach to Earth at a distance of roughly 23 million kilometres. And as that date approaches, telescopes across the globe are recalibrating, spectrographs are being tuned, amateur astronomers are preparing to record every second. And multiple space agencies, including private groups like Blue Origin's Orbital Sensor Division, are watching in silence. What happens on that day? It could break apart, it could emit more jets, it could release smaller objects, or nothing at all. It could signal. It could turn. We don't know. But the sky does, and it's counting down. In the final part of this investigation, we'll explore the philosophical implications of what this all means, the fringe and not so fringe theories about alien probes and long-range surveillance, and the final preparations being made as we approach 3i Atlas's flyby. We'll also ask the one question no one wants to face. What if this is the first time? We are not the observers, But the observed? Something is approaching Earth, something that has maneuvered. Not once, but twice. Something that glows bluer than our sun, emits nickel vapor, travels 3 times faster than our rockets, and seems to have no tail, no trail, no visible source of propulsion. And if it's natural, it's rewriting comet science. If it's not, then we are, at this very moment, being studied. Let that sink in. For the first time in human history, a candidate for non-natural interstellar origin is not just a theory. It's a data point, a moving object, a countdown, and it's arriving on December 19th, 2025. We are now weeks away from what scientists are calling the interstellar event of the century. At its closest approach, 3I Atlas will pass within 23 million kilometres of Earth, closer than Mars. Here's what astronomers will be watching for. Fragmentation. Will the object split or break apart like typical volatile-rich comets? No evidence of such materials has been seen so far, but if it breaks, what's inside? Secondary jets or objects? If it releases smaller fragments or probes, we may witness them disperse or align along its path. That's something seen only in artificial satellite constellations. Radar bounces. High-powered radar from Goldstone and Arecibo's successor installations will scan the surface. If it reflects like metal, we'll know instantly. Thermal readings. Instruments from James Webb and Spitzer are being tuned to measure non-solar heat emissions. If it glows without sunlight, that's a signal. Course correction. Will it change trajectory a third time? Near Earth? Any of these events would be unprecedented, and all of them could happen live while the world watches. Let's walk through the 3 dominant theories among mainstream and fringe researchers. This is the conservative view. It argues that 3I Atlas is a nickel-rich interstellar comet with unknown jet dynamics. The symmetry of its jets, its lack of tail, and its anomalous blueness are seen as extreme, but still explainable. The support? Minor gravitational influences, volatile jet theory, unknown inner composition. But critics argue this stretches comet science beyond its limits. This is the Galileo Project's position. Dr. Avi Loeb believes 3I Atlas may be a broken part of a larger probe, sent long ago, possibly millions of years back. The object's non-gravitational acceleration, symmetrical jets, and controlled path suggest design, even remote course correction. It may not be active, but its behaviour implies it once was. Supporters compare it to Oumuamua, which also accelerated without tail emission and came from the same stellar neighbourhood. This is the most controversial, but it's being taken seriously in private. Some now hypothesise that 3I Atlas is not inert at all, but a functioning long-range reconnaissance device. If true, it may have internal energy sources, data collection instruments, a mission profile spanning thousands of years, and perhaps the ability to respond. This would explain its exact alignment, its 2 trajectory changes, and its pass through the ecliptic plane. But it raises a darker question. If it's observing, or who sent it? Here's a possibility no one likes to say out loud. What if 3I Atlas is not coming to Earth? What if it's merely passing by, part of a larger path, to check on something else? Could it be a sentry reactivating old beacons, a scan of asteroid belts for resource traces, a rendezvous with objects left behind in deep time? This theory, sometimes called the silent gatekeeper hypothesis, imagines a future where humans aren't the first spacefaring civilization to visit our solar system. And now, something has returned, to check on their ancient work. Let's list the wildest theories, and explain why some are giving them second thought. Self-assembling probes, small components that drift and reform on command von Neumann scouts, self-replicating machines designed to spread, observe, and report back signal relay devices. Collecting information from Earth over millennia and broadcasting it outward, post-biological craft, containing no life, just pure algorithmic purpose. Each of these theories once belonged to science fiction, but now with 3I Atlas, scientists are beginning to entertain them, not because they want to believe, but because no natural explanation fits all the data. It's not the object itself, it's what it represents. Here's the real fear, one that's emerged from hushed conversations among astrophysicists. What if this is common, and we've just never seen one before? What if the galaxy is littered with ancient devices? Most are inert or dead, but some, every now and then, wake up. What if 3i Atlas isn't rare? Just the first one we've caught in time. That's the terrifying beauty of space. You don't always get a second chance to look. So, what happens next? December 15th and 18. Final observational campaigns ramp up. December 19th, 2025. Closest approach. Worldwide radar and telescope imaging. December 20th onward. Data analysis, possible course change, potential fragmentation. If it maneuvers a third time, the debate is over. If it emits new signals, the implications are planetary. And if it passes by silently, we may never know what we missed, but either way, we watched. We looked. We dared to ask. In 1977, we heard something. A radio signal that said, wow. And then, nothing. In 2017, something flew past Earth. Oumuamua. It blinked, shimmered, then vanished. And now in 2025, we're witnessing the third act. An object that changed course. Against gravity. Twice. And we saw it happen. This time we didn't ignore it. This time the world watched together. And maybe, just maybe this time, we weren't alone. If you want to follow this story as it unfolds in real time, subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications, so you don't miss updates as we approach December 19th. Leave a comment. What do you think 3i Atlas is? Will it break apart? Will it maneuver again? Are we witnessing something artificial, or just nature at its most bizarre? I read every comment, and I want to know, do you believe this is the start of something bigger? And remember, the stars are silent until they aren't.